So I don't think there's one right way to do high school. I think there's
Hmm.
like many different beautiful high school models that can exist that do not have to look all the same. But it comes back to, I think, partially what we were just talking about, which is have the students who have been most marginalized, who are the least well served by current systems and structures, have their experiences, have their perspectives, have their outcomes been centered in thinking through what's next for the school. Because if we aren't ever designing at those margins of who isn't being served well, we're never going to get to those young people. So if we start with them and really focus on their needs, their strengths, their hopes and dreams, then it's going to benefit the entire student population, including those that have been least well served. So I think that's part of it, is like really sort of reorientation of who is the focus of decisions,
Hmm.
and then thinking about having the clarity of what the purpose of that particular school is. Again, so much of what happens in high schools today has been inherited from prior generations and not necessarily reconsidered in a way that with intentionality of this is what I want the vision for this school to be. This is what our instructional vision is. This is what it means to be a young person today and what the school is offering them. We often see that happen like as a tinkering around the edges, like, oh, we're going to add a program on. And you might get a nice boost from that program, but it really hasn't touched the rest of the school. We use an analogy on our team that with many of our partners around, we're not interested in people just adding more decorations onto an existing cake. So if you bake
Hmm.
the cake and the recipe is staying the same, but you're adding additional pieces on, right? Different flower icing decoration, but it's more about rebaking reimagining what the recipe is, retinkering the recipe for that cake to begin with. So it's very foundational, getting at the root of like what is actually happening, and are we being intentional about the choices that we're making for school and not just doing school the way that we experience it ourselves or we're taught that this is the way the school is. So
Yeah.
there's like a slowing down to really question and be purposeful around vision and intention that really, again, gets at the core of who's not being served well and why.
Yeah, I love that idea of slowing down. I think we're talking about curiosity and empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've said probably for a decade on this show, right? That the way your school's structured, it served a kid at one point, but does it still serve the kids in front of you today? Right? And this is something we have to investigate. And that's what I mean that when I say ruckus makers do school different again, like yeah, we might have different kids in a different community in front of us, and so what is it that they need from us to have this excellent and equitable high school experience? So that's cool. I appreciate you sharing that, and the idea of slowing down and that there's no one way, and let's not just keep baking the cake the way we've made it and add decoration. Like let's maybe think about a different cake, or maybe we don't even make cake. Maybe we start making something else.
Maybe.
Imagine that. We're going to
Right.
make a kale salad instead of cake. How about that? Healthy and nutritious. All right, we won't make this into food.